Hi, I'm Leslie LaPlace, the fitness manager at Goodwin House Alexandria, and I am going to go through the exercises that were mentioned in the article. Equipment you might need is a stretchy band if you have one. You can also use weights. If you don't have weights or a stretchy band, you can use cans of food as long as they're the same weight or size. I'm going to show the exercises in a standing and seated version, and so that you can choose the one that's best for you. So we're going to start with squats. You can do this if you need something for balance. You can do this in back of a counter or in back of a chair. But a squat is just sitting your hips back. You're going to start with your hips. Don't start with the knees. So you want to push your hips back, come down, and then stand up. Your knees should stay over the middle of your feet and not past the toes. So to show you, you don't want to start a squat here. You can see I'm pushing my knees out past my toes. You want to push your hips back like you're sitting in a chair. You can also think of trying to touch a wall. You're standing in front of a wall and you're trying to touch it with your bum, okay? Keep your heels down, keep the knees pointing forward, and keep your chest lifted, okay? Squeeze your glutes on the way up. Coming out of a chair, or if you're in a chair, you can also practice some stand-in sits. So sit on the edge of your seat. It's always easier to get out of a chair if you're on the edge of the seat. Your feet are going to be pulled back a little bit, maybe about hip width apart. You can put your hands on the top of your thighs. If you need to use the arms of a chair, you can do so. We always recommend that people try to stand up on their own without using the arms. So you can do that with your arms crossed as well. So whatever you need to do is fine. You're going to push your feet down into the floor as hard as possible, and you're going to come up. You're going to stand up. You're going to lower with control. So as we say, no plopping. So we don't want to just plop into a chair. You want to sit down with control. Again, you're going to come up and then sit down with control. Now, if you need to use the arms for a little bit of help, I recommend just giving yourself that push and then try to let go. If you can, stand up on your own. Keep your hands there if you need when you're sitting down. The next is a push-up. So I'm going to show you a push-up on the floor and then on the back of the chair. You can also use a kitchen counter. You can use a table, as long as they're stable and it won't slide. The same thing with the chair. Just make sure that the chair isn't going to slide out from under you. So I'm going to come down to the floor. And to do a push-up, you can do on your knees, provided that your knees are okay as well. You want to keep your hips forward and your arms are straight and under the shoulder. So my arms aren't out in front of my body, they're right underneath my shoulder. I'm in a nice straight line. I should be in a nice straight line here. So we don't want to go back and do a push-up this way, because it'll just look like this. You're just bending at the waist. We really want to feel this in the upper body. It's a great upper body exercise, working arms, shoulders, chest, and back. So you're hitting a lot of muscle groups all at once. So a push-up is really about bending the elbows, lowering your body to the floor, and then pushing back up. This is very important to have good upper body strength, so that if you are on the floor, you are able to push yourself up. So you're going to come down and up, down and up. You can see my elbows are bending. You don't want to wing them out too far, so maybe at a 45-degree angle. And you can always start by just going down a little bit if you need to. Keep your core tight, so abs tight during the movement, and breathe, okay? So you can also do it on the back of a chair, or, as I said, a kitchen counter or a table. So your hands are going to be on the object, and you're going to step your feet back. And again, you're in a nice straight line. You don't want your hips back. You want to be in what's called a plank position. And the same thing, you're going to bend your elbows, bring your chest towards the back of the chair, or you're going to bring your chest towards the counter. Really good exercise, again, for building that upper body strength. Okay, I'll just get that out of the way. Lunges. I like to do these backwards, but I will show you a forward lunge and a backward lunge. This is a great exercise for building strength in the legs. And again, it's an important exercise, particularly if you are getting up from the floor. This really helps to build that leg strength. So you can stay near a chair or a table for a little bit of balance assistance if you need it. To do a backward lunge first, I'm going to use my right leg. I'm going to step back, drop my back knee down, keeping my body upright, and you can see my knee is forward. It's not in or out. It's going right over my laces. So if you're wearing shoes with laces, think of you want your knee to track over the laces. And very important, you want the weight of this forward foot on the heel of your forward foot. Putting weight on the toes is going to stress the knee. This leg is your power. This is what's going to push you back up. You're going to push down into this leg and come back up. So let's do it again. I'm going to step back and drop down and come up. I'll do it one more time, and then I'm going to switch to a forward lunge. Good. Shake it out. Now for all of these, I recommend doing anywhere from 10 to 15. Just depends on if you're just starting with them, you can then work your way up to 15. So a forward lunge, you're going to step forward, drop the back knee, come up and step back in. So same movement once the step has been made, but it's just which direction are you stepping in. Step forward, down, and up. Good. Again, this leg, you want weight on the heel, and you push up through that leg. Okay? And I'm going to show you some step-ups. So if you either have steps in your home or you have access to stairs someplace in a condo building or wherever, I really recommend continuing to do steps. It will help build up the leg strength. It will, and it's great exercise. So to do a step up, you can do this in your home, and you can make sure that you're near a banister. Again, if you need balance, you're just going to take a step up. I like to lift one leg. You can even reach up and then come back down. You can do all one side, or you can alternate. So I'm going to step up. Whoops, I didn't alternate. And up. So you can alternate legs if you want. It will give you a little bit of a little cardio workout here. So it's also good for building up endurance in the legs. All right, so I'm going to show you some upper body exercises to do with weights or food cans or a tube, and I'll show you standing and seated. So the first one is going to be bicep curls. So a bicep curl, if you have a band, you can step on it You're going to grab the band. Your elbows are going to stay by your side. You want to stay up nice and straight. You're just going to give myself a little bit more band. You're going to bring your hands up towards your shoulders. So my elbows stay locked at my side, and I'm just bringing my hands up towards my shoulders. Always take them down with control. I see a lot of people will do this and then they just drop. You want to take it up, but take it down with control, okay? You can do this seated as well. You can just put this under your feet. You can have your feet out in front of you. And same thing, keep your arms by your side. Okay? And then with weights, oops, I'll do them standing. Same thing. Bring the weights up, take them down with control. Take them up, take them down with control. Up and down. Same thing, seated. I always recommend if you're sitting in a chair and exercising, you sit forward and not against the back of the chair. It'll be a little bit easier, I think, to move the arms, and also it requires you to use your core to stay upright. So the bicep curl is the same thing in a seated position. Keeping your elbows by your side, make sure you breathe, and you're controlling that weight on the way down, okay? So rows. Rows are great. Oh, by the way, the bicep curls work your biceps, the front part of the top of your arm here. Rows are going to work your back muscles. So you want to sit up straight. You've got your weights, and you can hinge forward. You can also have one leg forward with support. You're going to hinge forward, core is tight, arms are down by your side or down towards the floor. You're going to pull your elbows back behind you, squeezing your back muscles, and then again, lower with control. So bring them up and down. Bring them up and down. So again, don't bring them up and then drop your arms. You want to control it on the way down, okay? If you're standing, you can do the same thing. You can do a bent over row. So pushing your hips back and just pull back. Right? Let's do it with the band. So you would stand on the band. And same thing. You're just going to pull your elbows back. Now with the back rows, you can probably grab down around where your knees are and then pull back. Our back muscles are big muscles, so you can go with a lot more resistance, okay? And finally, we're going to do an overhead press. So if you have a band, this can be hard to do using both ends. So I always recommend in class that we just do one arm if we're standing. So this will also work your balance a little bit. It's called a split stance or split lunge or athletic stance. And you're going to have one foot on the band. You're going to take the other end of the band in your hand, and then you're going to press that up. Now, this is a little bit more unstable, so you get to practice your balance in this position as well. Weight towards the heel of your forward foot, and keep your knee over your ankle. When you're raising or pushing your arm up, you do not want to go directly overhead. You want to go on a slight diagonal. So my arm is coming up just slightly forward of my ears. So it's a little bit more like if you're putting something up on a shelf, you don't put something up straight away, you're putting it up on that diagonal, okay? I would do one side, then you can switch legs and do the other side. So you get to work both legs in this position and get a little balance work in there. Now, if you're standing, if you have weights, you have a couple options. You can do both arms at the same time. You can alternate. Same thing, you can see that my arms are not going straight over my head, they're on a slight diagonal. And one thing to remember is anytime you have weight going overhead, your core needs to be engaged. That is going to keep you from arching your back. A lot of people, if they have something heavy and they're pushing it overhead, they're going to arch their back. And that's a good way to hurt yourself. So you want your abs nice and tight, or as they say, boxer ready, nice and tight, and then push up. So you can see I'm not arching my back. You can also do one arm. If you want to practice in this position, you can have one hand on a chair, and then you can do one arm, switch sides if you need to, and do the other. So this is a good position for practicing balance and working your dynamic balance, all right? And in the chair, do the same thing. You can sit and you can do either both arms at the same time, same thing, still make sure that your core is engaged, or you can alternate. It is a little easier when you alternate, and then with the band, you can either put the band underneath your feet, or you can put it underneath you and kind of sit on it a little bit. And then you can do both at the same time. Again, hands start at the shoulders, and you're just going to press it up. Same thing, you can do both, or you can alternate. Okay. So obviously there are a lot of exercises that can be done at home, and but I just wanted to show some ones that are easy to do to get you started, and using equipment that you might have at home, stairs or food cans. A lot of people seem to have stretchy bands, and if you have weights, that's great. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and I wish you well. Thank you.